Welcome to My Sorare Journey, episode 70. I've had 2 weeks off and I have planned a lot of things in my life. Most importantly to you guys, my Sorare teams. Starting with the return, the inevitable, Kevin De Bruyne. We've gone out and got him. What was I thinking? Well, to be honest, I was listening to the song while I was running on holiday. It matched so perfectly. But the fact that he's so cheap also made complete sense for me. So yes, I do run to Olivia Rodrigo's new album. But besides that, yeah, £56 for Kevin De Bruyne. It seems like good value to me. Now, I understand he's injured, I believe, until 2024. But, this kind of plays into my strategy as well. Because I always find that early mints outside of the first actual mint where you get that premium and it goes for a massive price, in this case £96, I actually think the second and third options always come in at a really good value. So this time I got him for 57, then he creeped up to like 74, 68 and ended up settling today around £58. So overall, good in terms of the timing of the value, but also he works for my team because of this reason. So I obviously prioritize Champion Europe across my limited and rare teams. And in my limited teams, I have a lot of midfield options, but none of them are truly high scorers. You see, what happened in the last My Sorare Journey is I actually sold Kimmich, one of the best midfielders on the game. My reason for that is that I don't think he'll hit the same peaks as last year. Losing to penalties to Kane, he's playing a bit more defensively. Not that he's a bad option at all, but for his price, compared to what people expect him to score, I don't think they're going to marry up perfectly like they did last year. So in this case, I need a better centre mid option or a midfield option for Sorare terms. And I don't need it right now because Enzo's fine, Camavinga's fine, Tchouaméni's fine, Cruz is fine. I'm going to get a Real Madrid or a Chelsea midfielder playing every week. But although it's not my top priority, limited, I do prefer my rare and rare pro teams. I still want them to do well. So if I can spend £50 now, XP max Kevin De Bruyne, and then by 2024, not many people will have a maxed out Kevin De Bruyne because, people will be thinking about, their teams today rather than their teams in 2024. So I'll have that advantage. I'll be able to strengthen the team just overall in general. And it seems like a nice choice. In addition to that, I've got Julian Alvarez as my, forward option. So, we're not sure if he's going to drop out when De Bruyne's back or if they're going to do what they did in the first fixture of the Premier League and they're actually going to play together. So, that's another addition where now I'm thinking I can just go out, get some cheap Man City players, boost up the collection bonus. I'll have Alvarez and Kevin De Bruyne, getting some decent collection bonus. Maybe I add in someone else who's injured like John Stones. So many options, and it just helps tick along this Champion Europe team. There's so many top scorers in this team, and yeah, it's just about improving it, but improving it in not an obvious way. Not everyone's thinking about the 2024 team. So yeah, and if you don't know why this is such an iconic purchase for me, it's because Kevin De Bruyne killed me so bad on this game. But if you don't know, I was invited to watch Tottenham versus Man City when Sorare got the Premier League license, and I was absolutely buzzing. I was like, I've got to get a Sorare card to celebrate this moment. De Bruyne's playing, a fantastic player. I'll get him. Paid £2,600, my most expensive Sorare buy, and essentially that was here. After the game and after a couple of weeks, he actually gapped down in the market to £1,900, losing like £600. I continued to hold him. It was just getting worse and worse and worse. I essentially did a bit of shrewd business, managed to get him out of the club, and wow, what a deal I made here. Even now, the valuation that day, I was giving £1,000 away. If you look at it today, those cards are £661. Mine cards are £1,400. So that's how you get out of a sticky situation. You can't live with regret, guys. You've got to move on. The Kevin hate is over. We welcome anyone on this channel. Outside of that, as you can see on screen, I've been going crazy on the buys recently. That war chest that I've been saving up for, it's finally time to bring it out. As you can see, I've made my decision on the stack. It is going to be RB Leipzig. Obviously, my strategy, if you haven't watched before, I was planning for this moment when the new season cards come out. We're going to go out, we're going to get them off auction, we're going to get that collection bonus, we're going to get the new season bonus, we're going to run it for the whole year, and I believe it will truly be overpowered this season if you get the right stack. Now, the stack is obviously the most difficult part to pick. If you pick an awful stack, it's going to be awful. Stacking isn't a cheat code by any means, but if you can do it right, you can, see serious benefits from it. And you can see clearly I'm going for at least two teams I'm going to stack with Red Bull Roma or Roma Red Bulls. I'm not sure what I'm going to call them. Let me know what you think I should call them down below. But they're going to be the priority stacks for that team. But the strategy does go a little bit deeper. In order to explain clearly what my strategy is then, you need to look previously at how the team looked, and you can see it on screen here. Essentially, some really solid scorers that can really push you over the line, especially if you're trying to compete in Champion Europe on a budget. I think I've been, scoring really well in that division, my priority division, got some nice rewards from it. But the issues you see at the moment, of course, we only have one goalkeeper. Pretend that's two. I've recently, panic sold really Rui Patricio because, a lot of the Roma fans, myself included, don't like his performances, aren't certain he should be the number one. Mourinho stick with him for now, but he also wouldn't turn his back on him in the media anyway. So yeah, not a nail position. So I want a nail keeper in a goal. That's what everyone on the game wants. You don't really want a 50% chance of starting or at risk of being dropped. It's just too expensive to play around with. But besides that, we're looking at players, and let's just look at some of them. For example, Hakimi as a wing back for PSG, he's gonna do well against weak teams. But as soon as he comes up against an attacking option or a team that are going to threaten PSG a lot more, and they're a little bit weaker this year, or maybe the past couple of years, to be honest, he's not going to score well. So we need depth. We got Jose Gaia. I struggle to see when he scores well. He's playing Atletico Madrid this week. I was guaranteed that he was putting up like a 15 or a 35. He puts up a 60 and a 3-0 win. So yeah, not someone that I can consistently roll out. I spoke a lot on this channel about it's not just how well your players play, it's about how you can predict how well they play. Because if, a Burnley player comes up and puts up 100 against Man United, it doesn't matter because he's going to be in training. Well, maybe not Man United. Maybe I should use Man City because some teams are steamrolling Man United at the moment. But anyway, Mancini, a solid enough scorer, but Champ Europe, you need high scores. You need to, be guaranteed of big scores, to be honest, and guaranteed AA, to be sure. Mancini doesn't really cut that. Simican and Henriks, I love, and obviously, I've picked RB Leipzig now, so you can see that's me leaning one way towards them. Remy Cabella, what a fantastic scorer. He did dip, and then this game week, he's just smashed it. Pellegrini suffered with injuries. Dybala, the main man, unfortunately does suffer with injuries as well. And Lacazette, I've recently just picked up because he's out of form. So one thing we're seeing as an issue area here is a lack of depth. And I speak about the importance of it so much. But that's not it, because we need to go a little bit further. And, understanding my history on the game, I've played for so long now and I've played as seriously as I can. I'm a try-hard on this game, let's just be honest, really. What I like and don't like about stacking is, obviously, I like the fact they all score well together, but I don't like the fact it's really hard, unless you're winning 4 or 5-0, to get enough points, spread about the team where you can actually go and win the divisions and get those high rewards. Because I'm firmly in the camp that, winning less but winning better rewards is an overall better strategy than consistently winning, tier 3s and tier 4s. Those tier 1s, those tier 0s really make up so much value that it's better to swing for the fences and, if you hit, you hit. That's always what I thought. And the issue with that on stacking is, like I just described, it's difficult to do that unless you can guarantee a 4 or 5-0. And that's not very often, even for teams like Bayern Munich, even for your PSGs. I've had those players before. I've had those stacks. It is very difficult. How I'm trying to do this is kind of balance stacking, but also balance it with, picking the best players that you can pick on a certain game week, because the game is about, picking your players at the right points and knowing when they'll score well. So how I'm going to do this is have individual little stacks. So that's why it's the Roman Red Bulls or Red Bull Roma, whatever you want to call them, because I'm going to have a defensive stack in, say, Leipzig. I've already got it on the go here. You can see I've been doing it for a little while. Now I'm just going to expand it. Attacking stack, you can see here, we've got the options of Dybala and Pellegrini. We like to, stack them. Obviously, you say like Remy Cabella is a bit of a hangover from an old strategy, who's just a fantastic scorer and a great depth option for his price, in my opinion. But what we're missing there is a, attacking stack, which isn't Roma, because Roma don't go out and smash everyone consistently. So in that, who is a really strong attacking team this year? There are so many options, and one that really stood out to me was Leipzig. But when I say I'm a tryhard, I'm a tryhard because there's so many different options that stood out for me as good attacking options or good stacking options, or, so many different options. We've gone from River Plate to FC Seoul to Ajax to Bayern Munich to PSG, Roma, of course. But what I really decided on, what really pushed me over the edge with Leipzig, was their cost compared to what I expect to get out of them. And, I can see I was doing this right down until the very last day that I decided. Until I made my first buy, I still wasn't sure. If I come over to the right here, two teams that I really got close to choosing between, and you can see just some awful names I was considering for the stacks. But yeah, Bayer Leverkusen have just been absolutely smashing it this year. They're top of the Bundesliga, I believe. Gave Bayern Munich a really good game on the weekend. Wirtz, Boniface, Hoffman, just some of the best SO5 assets you can get. But adding them up to about 6 grand or 3.8 grand, from my rough calculations, without having, 3.8 grand without having Wirtz and Boniface, the 2 best scorers really, except for maybe Hoffman, doesn't really make sense when you can go out and get the full Leipzig stack for 3,500. And yeah, it's like this creativity that people don't think about in Sorare, because it's been said to me on tweets before where you get no points for creativity, but you actually do, because if everyone's picking the same stacks and running the same teams, you're competing against them on XP. So then you need the highest XP. To get the highest XP, you need to spend more money. You need to get the cards earlier. Not what you want to be doing. Man City are obviously going to have a fantastic year, but everyone knows that. So all of their card prices are inflated. Whereas in my opinion, Leipzig are a little bit under the radar. Yes, a lot of people will know about them, but just look at them purely on a financial basis, essentially a cost benefit analysis here. Leipzig seem like a better option than Bayer Leverkusen, even though Leverkusen are having better scores at the moment. The only contrast I do want to chuck in there is that Jonas Hoffman, £726 is a serious amount of money, but God, he is a good SO5 scorer this year, so I might get him as well. So yeah, we decided on Red Bull Leipzig. It makes a lot of sense. Not only do the cards look sick, but if you've watched any of my other content on me on Twitter, I also support Red Bull in F1. I'm a big Red Bull guy. I like the drinks, all the rest of it, but I think it'll be a good selection. And if it's not, you can all laugh at me in the comments this year, next week, all the time. So now it's about not just going out and buying cards. It's about being creative and, learning to take advantage of the collection bonus in the best way possible. And, if you've been watching the journey, we've had experience with this. We've got a 5% FC Soul stack. We've not gone out and got every player, but we've got a lot of the key ones. That was, very cheap. We're talking like an £80 option for a full team that I can run out consistently. Some under 23 options that we love. That really helped us and built us towards a Kawasaki Frontale stack. Not in terms of money-wise or in terms of anything else. It's just knowledge and experience. We knew how to go out and get cards. We knew which cards we wanted to get. Different price ranges we could wait for. I've spoke about it in different episodes. But what I'm saying is that collection bonuses aren't just about, right, let's go buy every player. And of course, I've got a spreadsheet for this. I'm running some calculations in the background. I'm not going to take it by chance that let's hope I get a good deal. I'm absolutely running all of the premiums that it costs to get the new cards and good collection bonuses and the one-offs, the actual premium that we'll be paying and, all the rest of it. Essentially, what I have decided, and this may contradict the tweet you've seen, the best way to go out and get these collection bonuses is to start early, but on the cheap cards that have no impact. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about, and sorry if you're watching this, Klosterman, I'm talking about Ziegligler, I'm talking about El Chadi Bachai. Why did I pick a team? I just can't pronounce any of the names. But anyway, essentially, these guys have a little premium on top of them. You will have to play the collection bonus or the premium for them. You can see it here. But let's talk about Shelik, for example, right? £43. He's an under 23, 17-year-old goalkeeper. He gets me 60 points towards the collection bonus. You could have picked him up for £50. Essentially, it's cost me £42 to get those 60 points. Not a great deal. I did overpay because it was my first one. I just wanted to get on the, the Leipzig board. Then you're getting Klosterman for £10. I've got 60 points towards his, collection bonus. And you may be thinking, if you don't really know Sorare, or maybe you do, 60 points? Like, what does that actually mean? But, I've spent in total here, just looking at it, I've spent, what's that? £53, or if you exclude the negative, £81. And I'm already at a 3% collection bonus on Leipzig. And I'm, just getting started really. I'm halfway towards 4%. Okay, I'm not halfway towards 4%, but I'm on my way to 4%. So, if you are offered the option, right, there's a boost in the game. You give me £80, I'll give you 3%. Would you take that across all of your Leipzig cards for the rest of the season, forever and ever? If your answer is no, I think you're playing the wrong game. I don't think you understand XP correctly. It's just the guaranteed yes. The only thing that, you could criticize me for at the minute is like, okay, well, out of all of your cards that you've just purchased, you've got a 3% bonus, you've got new card collection bonus, you're starting off on 8% at the start of the season. You didn't go out and spend a mad amount of money to get some of these cards, you just made some shrewd choices, but who's going to use the collection bonus? Galaski's injured, El Chadley's injured, everyone else is a bench warmer or doesn't play. So this is the crucial balancing game that I'm trying to, balance at this time, and it's like, My plan was to get one absolutely mega player, run him with a 5%, and then slowly but surely through the months, through the weeks, just acquire different assets that will help my team so that, yes, I go out and get a full Leipzig stack that each have 5% and I run them for the year. But I don't buy them at the start of the year because obviously these card prices are expected to trickle downwards over time as more supply comes on board. That's standard economics, right? But in terms of like getting a top scorer now, you do need one of them. And you'll see my clip here if you haven't seen it on Twitter. Xavi Simons was my selection. The one of Xavi Simons. He was someone that is just the real deal. When I watch him, he's just electric. He's, stepping up in the football ladder and he's still hitting those standards. He's only 20 years old, so I did hold this card for the next 10 years. I enjoy watching him. He ticked every single box. And I was like, I'm gonna go and pay that expensive price and just get on the board. I offered, I think it was 850 on my max bid for the auction, and I didn't get it. And it wasn't the fact that I didn't get it, it's the fact that the Sorare app told me I got it after the auction had ended, and then it went to someone else who had paid £7 more than me. And the £7 seems less than my bid. You'd normally have to go like 5 or 10% over. I don't know what it is at exactly £850, but £7 does not seem like the premium that you should bid on. You can see this if you go to bid on a card, right? If you go to place a bid on Edison, £786 transforms into £818. That's £32 you need to go above. So that means if you're new to the game, you can't just, outbid someone by a penny or a pound and just keep, racking up the timer. It's all you can do, really. You have to go over a certain threshold. And this doesn't seem over the threshold to me. So I'm confused in that way. And then at the same time, the timer gets extended when you bid. I was then apparently outbid despite being told I wasn't. And there's no timer. There's no extra minute for me to go back. And I was seriously annoyed at the time, but I was on holiday, so I just put an angry tweet out and left it and didn't say much about it. And now it's really coming back to haunt me because the second went for £120 more. So I didn't get a chance to rebid on the card. Apparently this bid came in and it didn't refresh the app. The only reason I haven't gone supersonic angry complaining to people here like I did with when I got the awful Gigovich reward is because is it just the fact I had bad internet? But I had decent internet to see the auction end. I had decent internet to see the auction come in. And yeah, I'm just really, really frustrated at it because I feel like my perfect plan is falling away from me because they had such a fantastic game at the weekend, which FYI I didn't get to use them for because I didn't own the card. 85 points. The next guy that I tried to get, recently I tried to get the two of, Appenda went from 416 to 484. It's just like, both guys that I would have gone and got are expensive. And one of them, I'm pretty sure I won the auction. Or if I didn't, the auction didn't work as it should have. Please let me know if there's something I'm missing. Because I would love to have egg on my face right now and say, you just lost fair and square. But I feel like I've been cheated somehow by an auction system which has never failed me before. I've never really seen anyone complain about it. But yeah, imagine... most embarrassing. I was trying to make a fun Sorare clip for Twitter. Me and my girlfriend were out on holiday in a Scottish pub, and I was like, just record this for me while I try and win this auction. I won it, celebrated, and then the cut part of that clip out is just me depressed for the rest of the night because I was so angry that it told me I had it and I didn't. So there's a bit of behind the scenes information. Let me know if I should take it higher, try and get someone from Sorare to explain the game to me because I don't get it. But yeah. So anyway, let's imagine the teams are complete then. A defensive stack, we're going to have Unai Simon with, Leipzig's goalkeeper. The only massive red flag I had with Leipzig is the goalkeeper. Galaski, injured, is the first choice. Blazwicz seems to be taking his spot and playing well, so might keep it. But if you didn't know, Martin van der Voort, one of the best up-and-coming goalkeepers at the moment, or in the world really, plays for Genk. He's actually been signed by Leipzig to start, I believe, in the 2024 season. So I'm buying, two goalkeepers that probably won't have their spot next year. That was the only red flag for me. But I thought you're going to have, four of the goalkeepers anyway. Like, you can't have, 5 goalkeepers sitting on the bench next season. One of them or two of them will leave. So hopefully they go to good clubs. That's the only real red flag I had. But let's imagine we've got the choice of Bilbao, really strong defensive stack, Leipzig, defensive stack that have been really strong, and some other options of Hakimi and PSG, Gaia and Mancini. In the midfield and attacking stacks, I've got Roma. I've added some depth, as you would have seen, in the form of Alwa and Renato Sanchez. When I watch them, they're just electric. The issue is, both kind of injury risks. So it's kind of how Roma are doing it this year. They're competing on a budget, a bit like myself. But yeah, managed to pick them up for a really good value. I think Renato was £70, or Alwa was £93, something in those ranges anyway. So that gives me an attacking stack of them. I've got depth options in Lacazette and Remy Cabella, but also I then push on and I've got the Leipzig stack. When I get, the big guns, when I get Xavi, when I get Sesko, when I get Openda, the other one I really want, Danny Olmo, who's injured at the moment, he'll be, someone hopefully I pick up soon. Then the team can really come together. On big weeks, I can put it into Rare Pro. On not so good weeks, I can batter it out in Rare or Cap 270, Cap 240. I am really looking forward to it. I might even have some spare change and go out and get some other players. Rare Pro, Limited. We're going Champion Europe focus. We're going to try and win it all. And we've got off to a good start. 39th spot in Champion Europe Rare Pro. I did not expect this team to do so well. Or, I could have probably expected maybe some of these scores. But is this 39th spot? 400 points gets you 39th spot. And the best tier 3. I'm 0.65 away from a tier 2. So we'll have a reward open for that tomorrow. But yeah, just a really good start. Some of the other teams didn't do too great in Limited. But yeah, it was just one of those weeks where I think a lot of people struggled. But my most important team went out and smashed it. One goalkeeper, one midfielder, one attacker. Who cares? It worked. Anyway, if you like this video or if you learned something, drop a like, drop a subscribe, and yeah, all the best to you. Cheers.